So welcome to today's #Wednesdays weekly session, a weekly information session in collaboration with voluntary sector and public sector partners. In today's session, you'll learn more about United Utilities and the support schemes that they offer. The session will be delivered by Nikki from United Utilities. Over to you, Nikki.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to share my screen and I'll talk you through, it's a brief presentation, and then, any time for questions, answers at the end, pop them in the chat or I can answer them directly. Just give me a shout when you can see this. So I'm used to Teams, so can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. Let me just get rid of this.
Yep.
There we go. So thank you very much for inviting me along today. So my name's Nikki Carney and I'm the Outreach and Engagement Manager for United Utilities. So we are a very small team and we sort of, between myself and the outreach officer, Debbie Tomlinson, she might have been in touch recently. So I suppose the two roles are split separately. So the main role of the outreach officer, which is Debbie, is to engage with local communities. So she will visit community hubs, cafes, anywhere that is hosting weekly events, and she will go along and she will engage with members of the public to spread awareness of our affordability support. One of the most recent successes that we've been having is booking out a desk at local Department of Work and Pensions offices. So we recently done one in Stockport where Debbie went to, and what they done for her, they would book customers in with benefit advisors, and then they would able to make an appointment to see Debbie afterwards. So we're finding that has been really successful, and we're trying to reach out to more DWPs within different regions, because we do cover the whole of the Northwest, to offer a similar service. On the back of Stockport, we were able to help 16 customers and get them submitted and on one of our schemes. So that's primarily Debbie's role. And then my role is to engage with external organisations to drive campaigns. At the moment, we're looking into housing associations and social housing. So we realise that given the cost of living, social housing has been probably hit the worst by hardship. So what we're looking to do is, especially with one of our schemes that we have, it's Help to Pay for customers who are in receipt of pension credit. We're trying to drive campaigns between housing associations where we can identify from their property file a number of customers that they have that are in receipt of pension credit. We're then able to match it with our reporting side to see if that customer is already on that scheme or not. And if they're not, we're able to reflect that back to the housing associations and social housing, where they are then going out with a letter to drive the campaign for Help to Pay and sort of promote that we're working in partnership to help them. So that's one of the biggest campaigns we've got going on at the moment. Another big project that I've been working on since I started the role in February is the reboot of our United Utilities Hardship Hub. So this is sort of a one-stop shop for resource within the Northwest. It was opened up in 2019 to debt advisors and the money advice sector. But I think as times have gone on and we realise how overwhelming, the money advice and debt advice sector is, we surveyed them to see how we can help and sort of project the hardship hub more into the community. And one of the suggestions on the back of that was to open it up to members of the public. So that's what we're currently looking to do. So over the next week or so, that will go live. It's been sort of a long time coming. We've been working on it. It started in December and I took over it in February. So it's something that we're really proud of. I do mention it a little bit more in the presentation, but I'll get started on that. So just talking about what support is available for our customers that are struggling affordability. So as you can see, we've got an array of schemes on this slide. We have schemes that help with lowest affordable bill. So this is where we would cap a customer's water rates and they would pay no more than the actual cap that's being put on there per year. So we have our water shore scheme. So this is for customers who do have a water meter fitted at the property, and they either have a large family, so that's 3 children or more that are still in full-time education, or it can be for customers who have a medical requirement that requires them to use more water than they would do. So for that scheme, customers would need to be in receipt of a means tested benefit, but the cap that can go on that in terms of the water short's £480 for the year. So if they are using a lot more water, that's a big saving, especially for the large families with children and the medical need. And then moving on to our back on track scheme. So this is for customers who, again, they're in receipt of a means tested benefit, but they have either high water charges in terms of being on a meter, or whether it just be their rateable value. What we can do is our affordability team will go through an assessment with that customer to determine their income and their outgoings, and then we would be able to put that into a system that we use called Formworks. And what this does is this will populate based on the customer's income what banding charging they will come out of. So we have 7 different banding charges. This ranges from band 0 to a band 7. Band 0, the lowest per year cap on that would be £98 for the full year. So for customers that we do recognise are in receipt of means tested benefit and they are struggling financially, we can obviously help them with our back on track bandings and get them on a suitable banding to lower the water usage, lower the water bills. And then moving on to help to pay. So this is the one that I explained in regards to the campaigns that we've been driving. I think what we've recognised the most, and I was at an event in Blackpool last week, it was an older person's event, is that there's a lot of customers out there that are not in receipt of pension credit, but the potential eligible for that, they're not applying for it. I think the census that we got when speaking and engaging with these customers is that they don't want to fill forms in, they don't want to go to anybody for support, they've worked all their life, they don't feel like they are entitled to that benefit. So as much as the campaign is to get them onto the help to pay if they are in receipt of pension credit, what we are also trying to achieve with that as well is, well, a customer might call into us that isn't in receipt of pension credit, and the potential to then signpost that customer for that help, which they are entitled to, would be, again, partnering up with Department of Work and Pensions to help that customer. And I think as well, the conversations we had, they don't understand how much it opens up wider doors for them. So in terms, they can get help with council tax, they can get help with sort of broadband support tariffs and things like that. So just us having that conversations with the older community in Blackpool last week, it was evident that, a lot of these customers and a lot of members of the public are entitled to this. So yeah, help to pay is another one where we can put a cap on the water rates. There's 2 separate tiers for help to pay. So there's a tier 1 for 1 occupant, and then there's a tier 2 for 2 occupants at the property. But again, it falls under the lowest affordable bill, and they would have that cap put on the water rates then for that year. With regards to the lowest affordable bill, if a customer's circumstances do change, we would expect that customer to ring us to let us know that the circumstances changed, so that we can do a reassessment. And the reassessment, if they don't get in contact with us, nothing's changed, they would still be due a reassessment every 33 months. So we would contact that customer directly by sending them a letter to say that the reassessment is due. And then moving on, so we've got, as you can see, help with arrears. So we have 2 of our biggest schemes that help customers that are in arrears with the water bills. So the first one we do have is the United Utilities Trust Fund. So this is sort of a hardship fund that other firms run, and we use a company called Ariga that assess all our applications. A customer can have up to a maximum of £3,000 grant, which would be placed onto their water account to help with the arrears. Now, within that trust fund scheme, customers can also apply for one white good or a bed. to help them out with that little bit extra that they may need the support with. And then if we move on to our payment match, so again, this is probably one of our biggest schemes that we do have. So for customers that do have significant arrears on the account that are wanting to pay their ongoing charges, but they physically can't pay the substantial amount to clear the arrears within, say, a 12-month period, what we can do is we can look into offering them a payment match scheme on the account. So this works by every £1 that the customer pays, we would match that with £1. And then after the 12 months, because they've committed to paying what we've agreed, we would then up our contribution to the £2 per month for every £1 that that customer pays. So in theory, we do end up clearing half of the debt for that customer to help them get, again, back on track with just their ongoing water rates. Now, there's nothing to say that these schemes can't be combined. So say, for example, we could put a customer on WaterSure because they have a medical need. They're in receipt of that means tested benefit, but at the same time, that customer has got a high figure of arrears on the account. So we could then apply the payment match as well for that customer. So we can bundle quite a lot of our schemes together should we identify that the customer is eligible. And then moving on to short-term support. So we have our payment break scheme. So this is for customers who, there's two different types of payment break schemes. We've got a payment break for universal credit. So if a customer makes contact with us to explain that they have recently come out of work, but they've applied for universal credit, and obviously, you know, they either don't know the outcome or they are waiting for that first payment, we can apply a payment break to the account under the guidance that they are applying for universal credit. And then again, just another scenario with the short-term support, if a customer has had to pay out for an unexpected bill for whatever reason, we can then apply a payment break to the account as well, given that circumstance, just to give the customer a bit more breathing space. And then moving on to our pay-as-you-go scheme. So another great scheme that's come about more recently is customers who, for whatever reason, their incomes fluctuate from time to time. So a customer can't commit to paying an X amount per month or per week for the water rates. What we can do, the pay-as-you-go scheme works by setting milestones for that customer. So as long as a customer, and the milestones are set quarterly, so as long as that customer reaches their first milestone within that quarter on how much they need to pay. So if we were to split the bill within sort of 4 payments, as long as that payment is reached by the first quarter, then they will just continue on that pay-as-you-go scheme. A great example of this was a couple of weeks ago, I listened to a call from one of our agents where a customer had contacted us to explain she'd had a new bill. She was struggling to make the payments with that. She wasn't eligible for any of the other schemes and asked us if she can just pay as and when. And the reason for that was because she explained that she had 3 children in high school and she was struggling with the cost of dinner monies. And what she was explaining is because of the term times within the years, that sometimes she has a lot more money than what she would normally do. And she intends to use the monies that she would top up for the children to pay off the water. So that was a really good example of where we indicated that that customer will benefit from our pay-as-you-go scheme. Now, to apply for any of these schemes, I've put some information here, but what I will do after this is I will send over, if anybody wishes, the actual eligibility criteria. So this will go through what a customer needs for each individual scheme to be eligible, and it will also give the tariffs as well that they come out for. Customers would contact our affordability team on the number on the slide, and then, like I said, they would either go through an affordability assessment with the lowest affordable bill, or they can identify straight away if they need help with the arrears, whether they're eligible for payment match, and they can be promoted to apply for trust. And then another really good feature that we're promoting at the moment is our free meter option. And with this comes our lowest affordable bill, lowest bill guarantee. So how this would work is we would identify where customers could potentially make savings from having water meters. So it could be that a customer lives by themselves, or there's just 2 occupants at the property, and based on the rateable value that they're currently paying, we identify you could be making a saving here should you have a meter fitted. Now, what the lowest bill guarantee does is when that customer has a meter fitted at the property, if, for example, the customer ends up using more water, we can see from their recent bill that the customer has used more water, we would still bill them on their previous rateable value. So we would never bill them for the higher amount. They would always be billed for the lowest amount. So they'll never ever pay more. Within that period of having the meter fitted, the customer has 2 years to decide, actually, this isn't going to work for me. I've tried it. I'm not making any savings on it. The customer can opt to revert back to the rateable value for the foreseeable while they're at that property. The meter would still stay in situ, and the next people that moved into that property, they would be billed on the meter. But with regards to saving here and now for a customer, that is an option for them to see whether that would make a saving or not. Again, we wouldn't promote a water meter should we feel that a customer isn't going to save monies from having that fitted. We would only do that when we're engaging with the customer and having them affordability questions with them to see whether actually this could be something that would be beneficial for you. And then next we have our priority services register. So we work with partners, stakeholders and charities to drive registration. So customers who have needs in terms of physical, mental health, language barriers, financial vulnerability, or unexpected life events such as bereavement, they can register on our services, especially in terms of, we have customers that for whatever reason, let's talk about we have a planned shut off in the area of water, because we know that we've got customers that are registered as critical on our priority services register. We can arrange to get some bottled water out to them. And then, just discussing the relaunch of the hardship hub, which I went back to earlier. So again, just to reiterate, in 2019, it was launched for the debt advice and the money industry to help to seek where the best advice and best schemes are within the Northwest. We're now opening it up to the public. I can also share with you, once that's gone live, if anybody wants me to, I can share with you the date. There'll be a big comms going out, I believe, from our side, but I can share with you what them dates are going to be. So you've got future notice. You can have a look yourself, go over it, do some testing if anybody wishes to, feedback in if there's any improvements that you feel might be beneficial for the site. And then this is an affordability overview currently in Rochdale. So I've pulled these figures from our reporting side just to give you a bit more indication of where we're actually helping customers, how the volume of customers are that are on our schemes. So table shows the number of active water accounts across Rochdale. The figures are based on 94,415 active accounts. So as you can see, altogether we've got 6,754 customers that we've been able to help on our schemes. The biggest being Back on Track. So this is the one of 7 charging bands. That's our highest volume that we're sitting at the moment. And again, as you can see on Help to Pay, which is customers in receipt of pension credit, we've got probably one of our lowest uptakes on that. So it might be that we look into partner up with organisations in Rochdale to drive that campaign. I don't know if anybody knows of any events that are coming up that you might like to share with me, so we can target that and get our outreach officers out to. Payment match, we've got 0.45% on payment match. So I have had a little look into the demographics within Rochdale, and there are quite a lot of our customers that are in arrears. So again, that indicates to me that that's another factor that we can potentially drive. I don't think a lot of customers are aware of payment match and that they can get the help in terms of us applying the match to the accounts. But all in all, we've got 7.15% of customers living within Rochdale that are on our schemes. And then this just talks about what support that we can offer from our outreach and engagement services. So these recently attended and upcoming events in Rochdale. So I've pulled through our calendar. So we attended a cost of living event that was at Rochdale Football Club, and that was on the 26th of April. We managed to help 17 customers in terms of priority services, water efficiency, and also our schemes. We were able to drive that and get customers eligible and signed up to them. If there's anything else that you feel is coming up in the area, please let me know. But I know we've got the Rochgood Feel Good Family Picnic on the 25th of July. So I know there's a couple of dates over that week, but unfortunately myself and Deb, we are on annual leave. So we've picked up the 23rd and we're just looking for volunteers to go out to see if they can attend any more dates for us. And then the cost of living crisis, again, just touching over what campaigns we've been driving with social housing, and that we're offering up our services. What we would like to do as well is, if there's money sectors or debt advice sectors that sit within the housing associations, it would be great for us to present this to them, so that they have got an overview of our scheme. So at the moment, we're reaching out to them as well to try and engage with them as much as possible and offer that upskill. And if you feel you've got any other organisations that could do with this upskill of the schemes, then please let me know, because I can get that arranged and hold some questions and answer sessions. And understandably, it's not always possible to cover every event or pop-ups in the area. But what we can do is we can get leaflets, we can get water saving devices sent out to any organisations that they've got them, especially if they communicate with members of the public. They're able to signpost them or give them that information there and then. And then the last one just talks about, please invite us, any planned events, workshops coming up in the community, such as cost of living, community hubs, any type of public engagement, then let us know and we'll definitely try our best to come along. And then that's currently my details at the moment. So if you've got any suggestions or you want to reach out separately to me other than this session, or you want to share information with me that'll be beneficial for us and yourself, then please do.